Phillips was named at 5'8", but starts the game at fullback. Craig Field comes into 5'8", along in the halves along with Jeff Tuvey. Torrens and Duncan on the wings, Hopewadi and Hill in the centres. Peters, Sidaris and Kalala are the front row. Menzies, Gardner and Nick Kosef, that Manly back row, which, if the rumours are true, may be broken up next year. Who knows? Bob Fulton, as always, is the coach. For St George, Lee Murphy at the back, Blacklock and Wagon the wings, Coyne and Ainscough are the centres, Mundine and Rodwell the halves. They'll need to put their hands up today. Pearson, Brown and Colin Ward the front row, Tracy Thompson and Bartram the back row. I'm not sure a St George side, as picked by David Waite, would get much better than that.
No, I think you're right.
Which way are you going to kick it, mate?
The referee today is Kelvin Jeffs, and he will be assisted by John Yard, the video referee. Brilliant conditions here. We're underway. Round 17. St George kicking off. First touch of the ball for the Manly Seagulls in front of a healthy crowd. Sidaris at dummy half. Fires it out now to Adam Peters. Sideline today, former international Brett Kenny. And conditions don't come better than this, Brett.
Well, they certainly don't. I mean, I guess there'd be a lot of people might even be at Manly Beach today. But as you say, certainly great conditions and a great day for a game of football. And I think we're going to be in for an exciting game with both sides like to throw the ball around. And, of course, Manly, out this way, they still give themselves some chance of making the top 10. And, as you say, this is the first time for a long since round 7.
And a tip.
They've had the chance to make it 3 in a row. And for that reason, I think Manly may get away with this.
OK, well, it's Craig Field finding touch on the far side. So this is good field position early on for Manly. Over the 30-metre mark goes Adam Peters as Sidaris waits for it at dummy half. Finds Kosef. He fires it out now to Daniel Gardner. 22 metres out from the Dragons line. To the short side, Nick Kosef on the inside to Terry Hill. They read it pretty well, though, the Dragons' defence. Good defence by Ward around the legs. Now it's the captain, Tuvey, to Field. They go wide and find Hopewadi. And the big man stepping back inside. A bit of a handful on that occasion, John Hopewadi. Still a couple of tackles remaining. Tuvey fires it out to Field. He picks up Gardner, a fumble there, but he just manages to control it in the nick of time. Final tackle coming out, Field at dummy half. They're going to run it at this stage. Out to Phillips, up from fullback. Bit of pressure over there, but it's taken well by Blacklock in goal, so they'll come back to the 20. But a promising start by Manly, Wally.
Yeah, it sure was. You called it the pass that went out to Gardner. A little bit unfortunate that he couldn't control possession. Very fortunate for the St George Dragons. They had 4 on 2. If they had been able to control it and probably put the ball in front of one of the outside backs, it's almost a certain try for them.
Well, this is Corey Pearson. Averages about 17 hit-ups per match. Earning his keep in the St George Dragons colours. Bartram. Wow, great break by Bartram up over the halfway line. There's been question marks about the Manly defensive effort in 98. And Bartram almost into the clear there. 30-metre mark, and Thompson will play it for the Dragons. This has been a good set for them so far. Mundine goes wide, finds Rodwell, kicking over the head there of Alf Duncan. He'll pick it up on his own try line. And the chase is not a good one. He really should have been trapped right on the try line, but he picked up another 5 metres. So right in front of their uprights, the Seagulls and Jeff Tuvey. Tuvey, of course, one of the players coming off contract, one of the higher profile players in the NRL. Nick Kosef as well. Manly pretty desperate to hang on to both of those players. This is Kosef now. What a great pass. Over to Torrens on the left wing. He's up towards halfway. Just manages to stay in the field of play. Final tackle. Tuvey to Field. Hurried the kick right into the arms of Blacklock. The top try scorer for St George. And he picks up the support. So they're about 6 from halfway. Murphy plays it. Daniel Wagon almost to halfway. Brown at dummy half. This is Ward. Takes the tackle. A good tackle around the bootlaces from Kosef. Mundine runs to the line, turns it back on the inside to Bartram, and then it goes back now to Brown, but he will take the tackle 32 metres out. Rodwell shows it and eventually passes it to Tracy. Final tackle coming up now. Ainscough Gives it out to Brown. He goes to the and the chase is pretty good. Well, for a moment there, Blacklock looked as if he controlled the ball, and he was heading for a four-pointer. And in the end, it popped out of his grasp, and Manly come away with it.
Sea Eagles let off the hook on that occasion, but the point that's really starting to show early in this match is a penalty goes Manly's way. There's the jump. It was a very good jump on both occasions. Difficult for referees to adjudicate on situations like this, of course. Lots of guys jumping into the air now. They're under pressure, not only from the man that's following up in defence. Fortunately, the man can't really simply take out the man that's going to catch the ball. But getting back to the point that I made just a little bit earlier, the territory that St George are making every set of 6 tackles at the moment is about 60 metres. Manly's around about 35.
And that is a problem for Manly. This is Sidaris back on the inside. Just keeping it alive at the moment, the Sea Eagles. 10 from halfway. Now it's Menzies having a dart on his own up towards the halfway. Pops it out the back door. Tuvey got it back to Sidaris. He was immediately claimed there by Wagon to a very short blind side. Kosef got it out now to Duncan. Duncan back on the inside. Taken there by Brown eventually. Final tackle coming up. Tuvey at dummy half. Kosef to Field. Field. Midfield bomb. Murphy waiting for it. Wagon is back there as well. Wagon takes it. And St George have it. 12 out from their own line. Well, here's the penalty to St George. Their first for the match. Well, we've received 2 penalties so far.
Stay there, stay there.
There's a bit of push and shove. Terry Hill involved.
Put your hands down, be quiet. Come out. Both of you come out.
Dressing down here from the referee, Jeffs.
Never got a penalty. Wait. Come out here, please. Darren Tracy, come in here, please. Right. You got a job to do out here. It's play football, all right? You let me referee the game and be quiet. Push and shove. You want a penalty?
It's a pull and a push and a shove. It just relates back to a previous incident, a tackle over here where this player came in, this player retaliated. He
okay,
wasn't
be
involved
quiet.
in it, but this guy went from the tackle over here was the instigator, mate.
Who was the instigator?
This player here.
Okay, so we want to go back for a penalty?
Yes, we can go back.
Okay, all right, listen, before we go, you two blokes have been around long enough, too long for this thing, all right? He's got his off. So have I now, Jamie. All right, so let's cut it out, boys.
Yeah. Well, this is going to go the way of Manly, this penalty. So he's reversed the penalty. St George coach gave a well, don't be too happy about that. A little bit of push and shove almost in front of you, Brett Kenny.
Well,
Didn't seem to be too much in it.
Well, it was, Clarkie, and where the touch judge mentioned it went back to the previous tackle, that's exactly right. There was nothing in it. Terry Hill just objected to the way...
You tell me there where the push and shove was on that occasion from Jamie Owens. I tell you what, that bloke's got a pair of glasses on, or that's it needs, and there was nothing in that whatsoever.
Exactly, St George were given a penalty, and they should have received the penalty for I think it was offside, Manly offside. There's just no way in the world a penalty should have gone to Manly for that occasion.
Well, Manly are certainly trying to make the most of their good luck on that occasion because they're really putting the hammer down now. They're about 10 metres out from the St George Dragons line. 0-0 the score at Brookvale. They go wide. Kalala pops it out the back door. Tuvey cleans up, gives it to Kosef, a bit flat-footed now. Field starts to run. Craig Field through the gap, and Field will score a try. The first try of the match. The Manly Sea Eagles lead by 4 points to 0. It came from that penalty that was reversed, awarded initially to St George. Ainscough was penalised for pushing Terry Hill, for instigating the push and shove session, and they've been made to pay for it. The Sea Eagles have scored the try through Craig Field.
Yeah, he took the ball, decided he was going to run it. Good show of pace, good sidestep coming up. Darren Tracy was the man that was beaten on the inside. Giant second rower skating across the football field just found that right foot step from Field was a little bit too hard to match. That's typical Manly play though, Brett Kenny, where the ball is just thrown from side to side. Let's hope.
Well, it is. They like throwing the ball around, but I guess Manly can consider themselves a little fortunate to have the ball in this area. As we said, that the penalty should have gone to St George, but still they had the ball, they threw it around, and Craig Field, a nice little step back on the inside of Darren Tracy to go over for a very good try. It's been quite a good start by Manly. The defence hasn't been outstanding, but their attacking play has been exceptional.
And this is Luke Phillips. 6 from 8 against West last week. His first attempt today, back on the 20-metre mark. Struck it well. He sends it down the middle, and so that's 6 points to 0 now as Manly, the home side, over St George. A good confidence booster for the home side.
It was, but here's the incident that it all started over. One of the players trying to rip the ball out, Jamie Ainscough. There wasn't too much involved in that. It was a simple push and shove affair. That went on a couple of tackles later. Now, if anyone was responsible for throwing the first one, in all honesty, I don't think it was either of those two players involved.
Well, the points are on the board. And now it is Adam Peters running it back to the 20-metre, the 20-metre mark. And he's entered the ground. Daniel Gardner picks up 10 metres. As Tuvey waits for the dummy half. Hopewade. Strong run out of dummy half. And Tuvey waits for it again. Sidaris. 5 from halfway. Tuvey up over the halfway. Picks up an easy 10 metres. Taken by his opposite number, Matthew Rodwell. Final tackle coming up. And Field is nudging it down over the head of Lee Murphy. He's going to have to try and get out of the in goal. Well, he couldn't control the ball. I don't know whether he was actually trying to wish it over the dead ball line or tap it over the dead ball line or claim it. Whatever happened, the Rookie of the Year in '97 made a bit of a mess of it.
Yeah, he's had a tough couple of weeks. Very much against Brisbane. Then again, it is for any fullback. I thought there was a pretty strange choice to take on that occasion. His team really looking for a little bit of assistance on that occasion to get the ball back into the field of play so that they've got the football and aren't expected to do another 6 tackles.
Ainscough, the left-footed dropout, picked up by Kallela. And this is a very good position for the Seagulls to start another campaign here inside St George territory. Peters. Sidaris at dummy half. Tuvey. And picked up and dumped there. Kosef. Look at that possession, Wally. It's been all Manly. They've got 6 points on the board to show for it. Menzies allowed to offload back to field. Sloppy pass, but the bounce is pretty good for Tuvey. Tuvey getting through. Where's the support? Murphy took him, ball and all. Gardner at dummy half, 1 metre out to field. To the short side they go, but he can't get the pass away. Good ball and all tackle by Rodwell as Sidaris waits for the dummy half. Final tackle coming up. They go wide, and that's Phillips up from fullback. Sloppy pass back to Kosef, and they really should have done something with that one, Brett Kenny. It was not a great finish to what was a pretty good set of 6.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I guess, you know, they had Craig Field playing the ball, and we saw Tuvey, I think, was on the right-hand side. He may have even been a dummy half. So the 2 recognised kickers weren't there. But as you say, somebody should have taken the initiative and at least put a little kick through.
Wasted opportunities for Manly, and well, they've got 6 points on the board, Wally. But here's a mistake from St George. And they get the ball back inside the Dragons' territory. And certainly dominating that possession.
Well, they're getting the football and they're using it for 2 tackles. Oh, here's a big chance coming up. Thankfully, well read by John Hopewade, who saved a very tough time.
They also had intercept written all over it, that pass from Craig Field. They keep working to the left, and Kosef takes them on. Got a great ball back to Menzies. Menzies for the corner. They won't stop him. Great pass, Gardner. Great finish, Menzies. And that's a very good try to the Manly Seagulls, and they'll lead by 10 points to 0. Came from a St George mistake, a couple of metres inside their own half, and they've been made to pay yet again.
Yeah, I thought it was a couple of poor choices here. Manly just deciding to come in a little bit too many 4 players coming into the 1 tackle there, but that was a strange choice, I thought, from Nathan Blacklock. He's one of the fastest blokes on the football field, decided to dive at Menzies very early in the chase. Admittedly, he didn't have a lot of field to work with, only about 35 metres. He's got to respect his own speed a little bit more than simply just trying to grab him with the right hand, a little bit of a jersey grab, and then dive at the back of the heels. They've got to learn to get a little bit more desperation in their play, St George. Respect the football.
So Stephen Menzies, 9 tries for 98. He is Manly's leading try scorer. Problems here for St George.
Guys, there's also problem for Manly. Cliff Lyons has now taken the field. He's replacing Jeff Tuvey, who is left with possibly a cork to the right thigh.
That is a problem if Tuvey is going to be restricted in his movement. From out wide, Phillips. Oh, that's a magnificent conversion. Luke Phillips, 2 from 2. 2 converted tries to nil. It is 12-0. Manly over St George. And Cliffy Lyons out there for his 305th first-grade appearance.
Well, I've got to agree with you, Wally. I thought this was probably the wrong option, but of course the 2 St George players came in on Nick Kosef, and that was a great pass to Menzies. And as you say, Blacklock sort of, he didn't give himself an opportunity to run him down. He put his hand out and missed the tackle, but it was certainly a great pass by Kosef to put Menzies away.
Well, this is a fine start for Manly. Just about every game for them now is a grand final. These two sides, of course, met at the '96 grand final, won by Manly on that occasion 22-8. In 97 here at Brookvale, Manly beat St George 28-4. In fact, St George have only won once at Brookvale in the past 12 years. That was back in 1992.
Yeah, some pretty poor dummy half work. Jim Sidaris, I think, was a little bit confused. There was 3 or 4 calls coming up for him. His counterpart, Nathan Brown, rushed around and wrapped his right arm around the forearms, forcing Sidaris to cough up possession. It's exactly what St George did just 3 or 4 minutes ago. We'll see whether the Dragons are able to inflict the same sort of damage.
It was Mundine trying to step inside the tackle of Luke Phillips. Couldn't do so on that occasion, but good field position for the Dragons. They haven't been at this end of the park for quite some time. Wagan waits for the dummy half now. Brown picks up Ward. Ward driven into the turf, just inside the 20-metre. Right in front of the uprights. They work it to the left through Rodwell, and Ainscough puts it on the toe. Sidaris is back there, sweeping. And he swept it up about 5 metres out from his own line.
Very nice to have a hooker coming across in cover defence, isn't it?
Another look at it here. Good work from Jimmy Sidaris.
That was just a spur-of-the-moment thing. There was a lot of planning behind that.
And guys, Lance Thompson has left the field for St George, carrying a bit of a leg injury. He's gone straight up into the dressing room, and Robbie Simpson, wearing number 15, has taken his place.
So a couple of changes to some key people early on in the match. Tuvey off the field for Manly, Thompson off the field for St George, and Terry Hill is about 35 metres out from his own line. And Sidaris, well, he was cleaning up a kick earlier on. Now he's kicking from dummy half, and it's Murphy 10 metres out from his own line. Chase is grabbing about 21 out from the St George line. Wagan from dummy half. Now it's Brown. He picks up a good 15 metres before they claim him. And Manly really had to shut down territory like that around the ruck. Mundine taken from behind by Gartner. Nathan Brown got the ball out to Pearson. Menzies was over the top. Underneath was Sidaris. Now it's Mundine allowed to run. Kicking for the corner. Phillips turning. The chase is on, and Blacklock getting very close to it. Did he win the race? Did he get it down? The touch judge, I think, says yes. Well, Jeffs is going to go to the video replay.
John,
Well, it looked at, for a moment, that Manly had it covered.
Look at it. There was a little bit of nudge in the two runners, whether it was a hand laid on him or was it shoulder to shoulder. We believe that he's got the ball down okay. All right, just have a look at that for him in the run of play. We'll have a look.
Having a look, Blacklock. Well, he certainly showed blistering speed in the end to overrun the two Manly players. I thought the Sea Eagles had it covered, but Blacklock, well, he charged down that right wing.
Dictation of terms from Mundine, did very well, ran to the line and put the ball in behind. Well, I think that's pretty fair. What the referee was questioning in the video replay, I'll tell you what, there's another important point here, whether he was actually over the sideline before he dived back in to try and field the ball. They were shoulder to shoulder. There wasn't any problem there. Well, I'll tell you what, he's got it down, but well, I think it's a fair try because his feet are still in the air. But you could see just before he took the dive to the ball, his right foot was actually on the sideline.
No doubt about it, he got it down. There was downward pressure. That was okay.
Yeah, Wally, I've got to agree with you there. That's the thing I thought. You can see his right foot is on the line. Now it's left. It's in the air. He's actually got the ball down.
Yeah, well, you can see both heels there, Brett, aren't they? They're in mid-air.
Yeah, they're both in mid-air, so they've got to award it. At the time, I wasn't sure. That's what I was looking at. I thought, oh, his foot's touched the sideline. But as you say, in the replay, it's up in the air.
Taking plenty of time. Well, the foot was on the line there. Now it's in the air.
Well, you have a look at that. He's probably in the field of play through being in mid-air, but what the ruling is seems to be a little bit of difficulty. Was that if he can't go?
Well, it's no try. They've ruled your way, Wally. They've ruled it. He's been out, and then he's come back into the field of play to claim it.
Well, there's a bit of a problem with that, Greg, because of course, if you are seen to jump from the field of play and catch the ball in a bomb situation and land in the in-goal area, it's bad luck, fella. You're in the field of play.
Well, it's gone against St George. They have to regroup now. It's still 12-0 Manly over the Dragons. And the Sea Eagles, Field gives it to Colella. Colella to the halfway. Of course, Manly playing without Neil Teeny, one of their go-forward props today. Teeny out for the rest of the season. This is Hopoato running back in field. Taken by Pearson and also Coyne. Cliffy Lyons. Right into the arms of Wagan. Not a great kick by Cliffy. Daniel Wagan under no real pressure there. Tackled 20 metres out. Ainscough. That stuff at the moment. Murphy gives it to Ward. Matthew Rodwell. Darren Tracy to halfway. Penalty St George.
Do you have a second go at him? You pushed him down. Darren. There it is.
Well, the ruling is that Kosef had a second go at him there. Jeff Turvey is loosening up the injured leg. Dr. Brett Kenny suggested it may have been a cork thigh.
He'll be right now, though.
Okay.
We've fixed him up.
They're down by 12-0. And it is St George, the Dragons, right in front of the uprights, 20 metres out, looking for their first points. To the right they go through Mundine. Murphy's up from fullback. There's no way through there. Good tackle around the bootlaces by Kosef. Over the top was Cliffy Lyons. Continue to work to that short side on the right. And marking up pretty well around the ruck at the moment. Now through the hands, Matthew Rodwell. A long ball to Wagan. Picked it up on the half volley, getting very close, but no, they've called him back. The ball went forward. Calvin Jeffs getting the call from the touch judge, no doubt. And so the scrum's going to pack down about 10 metres out from the Manly line.
And guys, St George have made another change. We've got Colin Ward has come from the field. Craig Stapleton has replaced him. We're up at 14.
Manly seem to have Wagan covered there anyway. The pass apparently drifted forward. Tuvey is back out there now. Terry Hill. We spotted him limping. Only a few tackles back, Terry Hill. Right in front of the uprights. Tuvey to Kosef, and now Menzies. Menzies down the right. Great run again. He's already scored one try. Cut back in field on that occasion, and the cover picked him up. Phillips to Menzies, to Tuvey rather, and Tuvey 8 from halfway. Oh, great pass from dummy half, and Terry Hill really couldn't do much about that. By the time he picked it up, he had Stapleton all over the top of him. Now it's Gardner up towards halfway. Final tackle coming up. Field did well to get the kick in. And he's going to find touch only about 3 or 4 metres out from the corner flag. It's good work by Field on that occasion because he had plenty of pressure on him. He scored the first try.
It's amazing they're able to get the kick across the touchline there so successfully because the structure of their kicking game at the moment is terrible. They're just getting out of jail on a number of occasions. I think that Coach Bob Fulton will probably remind his players about that through the trainer's message. But, they may even decide to use option kickers or perhaps even kick on the fourth tackle to surprise their opponents.
The completion rate at the moment, Manly 9 out of 11. And, well, St George have only had it for 5 sets of 6. They've completed 3. Possible 5 sets of 6.
If I was just going to be a little bit critical, I was going to say what St George have got at the moment is too many cooks. But I guess when you have a look at those statistics, when they're doing all the tackling, the big men are going to find it pretty hard to be able to come up with some very constructive ball running in behind the ruck or on the fringe of that run.
Well, St George have had to do 80 tackles compared to Manly's 53 so far in the match.
Put the Manly bike on the deck, mate.
Oh, that was a slop and play, but the penalty's going to go to St George.
Roll away.
But I'll tell you, this bloke did it on purpose.
Exactly.
He's milked that very well. But I've seen a number of referees say before, you did that on purpose. Now look at this. He threw that straight into him without question. Admittedly,
he never rolled out of the way, did he?
He was a metre away and he threw it into him.
I've given a penalty. I've made my decision, all right? All right.
He does, of course, have to roll away. The referee does have a safety issue. He can pull back on there. There's no doubt about that. But he threw that ball straight into him.
But Wally, to the referee's defence, I don't think he saw it. He did get a call from the touch judge, and really, you would think that these touch judges would be able to tell whether a guy is deliberately trying to pass into another player.
Well, they've got good field position out of it. St George. Stapleton plays it back to Rodwell. He gives it off now to Thompson, who's treated for something in the dressing rooms. Now he's back out there. Seems to be moving freely. Mundine gives it to Ainscough. Back on the inside it goes now. Mark Coyne. And St George charge ahead, looking for their first points. Bartram plays it. Now it's Mundine. Mundine, short ball back on the inside to Pearson. 10 metres, just to the left of the uprights. Rodwell, the grubber kick into the in goal, picked up brilliantly by Duncan. Can he get back on the field of play? I think he can. That's good work by Alf Duncan. Penalty. To Manly, a relieving penalty at that. Mark is not standing square on.
Yeah, a bit of a tough decision to make for the markers that are standing there. The emotional time, the disappointment not able to trap him in the in goal area. They probably thought, well, this is the chance if we can get out of there quick enough, we can perhaps push this bloke across the in goal area. Decision going against them. Manly now an opportunity to chalk up some more tackles on the St George scoreboard.
This is Adam Peters. Kalala would roll on by the two front rowers. The tallest of front rowers, Kalala, but he gets through a bit of work. Sidaris brings Hill back on the angled run. 10 from halfway to the short side. Jimmy Sidaris. We're used to seeing most hookers playing dummy half, but in this Manly side, as the penalty goes to Manly, 2 men in the tackle. The call.
Tackle was complete, Jimmy. Tackle was complete.
I know the tackle was complete. Saying he stole the ball after the tackle, and the momentum was still there. But anyway, the penalty goes to Manly.
I don't think the referee was watching there.
They've copped a couple of tough decisions, St George, haven't they? In the wrong area of the ground.
Well, now it's Sidaris, and I started to say that Sidaris, in the number 9 jersey, doesn't play dummy half all that much.
Tell you what, if I'm building a new house, I hope it's a bit more complete than that when the first rain set in.
Well, now it's Menzies. Already scored 1 try. Fine opening to the match on attack by Menzies. Kalala. And they're not moving up St George and allowing Kalala to run to the line. Now it's Craig Field. Field back on the inside. Hopewati, the big centre, held up about 5 metres out from the line. Now driven back by the Dragons defence. It's Tuvey and Kosef. Kosef back to Jeff Tuvey. Nowhere for the little man to go on that occasion. The gap soon closed. Craig Field. Field, a wide ball, picked up by Duncan. Duncan trying to burrow his way across, but now he's into touch, and so that's good work by the St George defenders on that occasion. Duncan backed himself there, put the head down, had a go for the corner, but the cover was too good.
It wasn't all that far either. Actually get through. Kept it in his left hand to get it around the corner. One guy I've got to say that stood out to me a little bit is Anthony Colella. You're talking about not the biggest man on the field, but how much he reminds me of Owen Cunningham. It's probably the way that he has fitted into the Manly game plan so easily. And break almost starting for St George.
Now it's Bartram. 29 metres out from his own line. Pearson. Good defence around the legs by Peters. Over the top is Sidaris. To the short side, Rodwell. He finds Simpson. Still inside their own territory. A couple of tackles remaining. Ainscough at first receiver. They go wide to Mundine. Up towards halfway. To Mark Coyne. Inside Manly territory. Final tackle coming up. Mundine. Or Blacklock over the top. And the bounce was there, but unfortunately Blacklock had overrun it, and now opportunity for a counter-attack, although the movement stopped there. Just as Wagan came in and wrapped Terry Hill up, ball and all. Terry struggled to get to his feet on that occasion. I don't think he's 100%, Terry Hill. Tackles St George. They're using up plenty of petrol, aren't they? 101 tackles to Manly 70. Centre field, almost on halfway. There goes Jeff Tuvey darting out of dummy half. Kosef out wide. That's the left winger, Albert Torrens. And that's a good run, isn't it? In fact, it was Hopewadi. Now, Craig Field. Phillips up from fullback. Wagan took him around the shoulders. Inside the red zone, final tackle coming up. Craig Field looking for one. It's away to the right, though. Now, the lead by 12 points to nil. And Field set his sights on the 1 point.
Smart play, particularly for one reason, that the pass was very sloppy out of dummy half. Probably the third time I've said that their kicking game isn't all that flash. Imagine if it had been a good pass, the option there may have been to give himself enough time to put up a very high ball and put even more pressure on the flagging St George defence.
Still 10 minutes remaining in this first half. And there'll be a tired lot at the break, St George. Brown. Murphy from fullback. There's Thompson up over halfway. Bartram got it back to his skipper, Mark Coyne. Back under a bit of a high one from Hopewadi. It's okay. Play on. Brown. There's the kick. And it's going to be into touch just before the corner flag. So the scrum will come back to the 10-metre mark, and it will be a Manly feed into that scrum.
Referee disagreeing with the touch judge on that occasion. He thought that the ball went into touch. And quite clearly on the field side of it, he was starting to run towards the 20-metre line, believing it would be a tap restart. But although that ball was very well weighted and placed, I don't think it was all that wisely planned from St George. They've got to be able to come up with some options that's going to give them more possession.
Hopewadi plays it. Colella. Top tackler, averaging 28 tackles a match. Anthony Colella averaging 15 hit-ups a match. Here's Sidaris. Playing like a third front rower, other than a hooker. And Jimmy Sidaris picking up some very good metres here for the Sea Eagles. 5 metres from halfway. Tuvey to Field. And Kosef. And back to Jeff Tuvey. Just a little bunched around the ruck on that occasion, though. Peters up over halfway. Craig Field looking for the corner, and Murphy has a couple of Sea Eagles defenders there, and that's a very good chase, so they'll get another set of 6 Manly inside the last 10 minutes of this first half at Brookvale. It's the Manly Sea Eagles leading the Dragons by 12 points to nil. Things going their way at the moment.
Great chase from the Manly boys, but I've also got to be pretty critical of Lee Murphy. That's about the second chase. You can just see him looking over the back of his shoulder there. That was towards the end of the kick. But the original one where he knew for sure that it was going to go way over his shoulder, he didn't put in any desperation to be able to turn around and run after the ball.
Now, I may not have called held and I didn't, all right? So you're listening to someone else. Don't preempt me. Do you understand me? All right, away you go.
Yeah, well, he doesn't seem to have any urgency in his play, does he? Like, as you say, he looked over his shoulder. He saw the Manly players coming down on top of him, and he still seemed to take his time when he picked the ball up and turned.
It's Ainscough with the restart. And charging onto there is Gartner. Now it's Kosef. And Manly looking dangerous again. Problems here for the St George Dragons. They're a pretty tired lot at the moment. Plenty of possession. Manly, that's another great pass though. And it's been picked up by Mark Coyne. So an opportunity goes begging there by the Sea Eagles. And Mundine picked up and driven into the turf about 23 metres out from his own line. This is not a great pass at all.
No, it's a shocker, but very well picked up by Mark Coyne. Facing a little bit of pressure too.
Jeff Hardy, the veteran, is out there for St George at the moment. His 236th game back from injury. This is Hardy with the ball now. He offloads. And Murphy, the fullback, will play it 5 from halfway. Mundine is wide to Ainscough with a bit of room to move. Jamie Ainscough, fullback to beat. Back on the inside to Mundine, chased by Menzies. Gives it off to Rodwell, and they have their first points on the board in the first half, St George. Great play by the Dragons' backs. They've hit back, put the ball down under the black dot.
That's a wonderful rugby league try. Plenty of attack, shifting the ball wide. The competition continues between Ainscough and Hill. Ainscough got on the outside of Terry Hill. Well, he's a competition try, Terry Hill, but that knee is not real flash. Superb support way on the inside from Anthony Mundine. His teammate Rodwell supporting him, attacking the right-hand side of Manly. You can just see him getting on the outside there, taking the fullback out of play, positioning Mundine perfectly on the inside. You've got to give a big rap too on that occasion to Steve Menzies. His cover defensive work was fantastic, although it didn't stop the try.
Well, as you say, Wally, it was great competition between Ainscough and Terry Hill, but in actual fact, I think St George did have an overlap, and Terry Hill isn't 100% out there, but Ainscough was able to get outside of him. Mundine, it was a great pass by Mundine, cut out 2 players, and of course he was able to back up on the inside, and Rodwell, a good sight, enough sight to realise that the break was on, and backed up Mundine to score under the post.
And from right in front, Wayne Barton doesn't miss them from there, so it's 12 points to 6.
Well, I don't know how you feel about it. I just think with Manly, in their sets of 6, they don't seem to be playing with any set pattern, and they seem to be throwing the ball from one side of the field to the other. They don't seem to know what's going to go on in the next 2 plays. I mean, most of the sides when they play, they seem to have a set pattern. They know what's going to happen 2 or 3 plays ahead. Manly at the moment don't seem to be doing that.
Relying on a bit of individual brilliance. But now it's St George. Well, will this give them a little bit of a recharge as far as the batteries go? 35 minutes gone in the first half, 12-6. Well, let's play on. 1-on-1. They're stolen the football. 16 is on there. Big Joe Taylor. Sidaris waits for the dummy half. Nick Kosef straight ahead. Run into Ward, and also in there was Thompson. Kalala. About 21 metres out. It's important for St George to hold them out here after reducing the deficit. Field. Out it goes to Terry Hill. Hill trying to get on the outside. Got it back on the inside now to Alf Duncan. He did well to stay in the field to play. Gartner at dummy half, and now it's Menzies. Menzies taking them on. Can't find a way through. Good tackle around the legs by Hardy, and over the top it was Simpson. To the short side, Craig Field. Kicking in behind the line. The chase is on. Who's won the race? They're going to ask the video referee to have a look at this one again.
This will be right in front of the camera.
Johnny.
Well, the chase was on there from Duncan in particular.
Whether it's went out first, okay. Whether it's went out first.
Well, did the ball go over the dead ball line? Duncan winning the race to get to it. Maybe touch and go there. I think, in fact, it was probably a little too close to the camera in the corner.
Judgment there. Oh, I think it's a bit of... Well, it's tough to call it from there, but it really did look like he would have been struggling to get it down into the field of play.
That's all we can see from that corner camera. It was a little too close.
I think it might come up ref's call.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit tough. The thing that doesn't surprise me, Brett, have a look at all the Manly players standing across the 30-metre line there. Most of them believe that he didn't get the ball down.
Yeah, and I think the most important player, of course, is the winger, and he came straight back.
The one thing going against him there, of course, Alf Duncan, is the ball bounced high. If it had stayed low, he certainly would have been able to grab it and simply place it on the field. I think that's a little bit too hard to believe that he got the ball down.
The ball was in front of Blake's body. Probably had a better angle than
No, I don't think it was forced properly.
Kelvin Jeffs just said then that he didn't think it was forced properly anyway. He had doubts about that.
Yeah, looking at
certainly inconclusive, Brett.
Looking at the replay, that's one of the conclusion I came up with. That even if it was in the field of play, I still didn't think that he actually forced the ball. Not that we could see from the angle wasn't that good, but to me it looked like he may not have even forced the ball.
The referee there just announcing that it was a tough call as well, expressing his views. You can have a look at that. That shot there's probably the most conclusive. Have a look at it. If it's on the line, it's out as well. So he's got to be able to place it on the grass inside that white line.
I still say they'll take the easy way out and say ref's call.
Okay. I'll take the big one. There is.
It's the ref's call. And he's going to go back to the 20 for a restart.
Well, perhaps he was able to see something that we couldn't there. Very tough call and an important time of the game. You can imagine if Manly had been able to score 6 points there and stretch their half-time lead back out to 12 points.
So a disallowed try now for Manly as well as St George.
I guess one thing that break has done, it's helped St George recover a little because they've had to do a lot of defence this half.
And that's the halfway mark now. And Wood plays it. Simpson, and Hardy, they put it through their hands. Here's Ainscow again trying to step on the inside. Hill had him that time though. Simpson at dummy half. Fires it off now to Stapleton. So can St George put on some points just before the break. Not with a kick like that. It went straight into the arms of Albert Torrens, the left winger. He's about 12 metres out from his own line. Penalty to Manly.
About 4 of you are offside. 1, 2, 3.
That's 1 short of 4. Oh, I don't think there was any doubt there. St George players pretty desperate to be able to get up. You can see the referee standing there facing the St George players. There was plenty of them offside. But just over two and a half minutes to go. These first 3 or 4 tackles are going to be very important as the pressure that's going to be put upon them by the kick on the spread the ball play on the last tackle.
Kalala. So he's about 8 metres inside the Dragons' territory. Sidaris. Jim will play it. And we'll get to the short side. Kosef to Hill. Hill still in the field of play. And now they're just 20 metres out now. Field. Thought he spotted a gap, tried to duck underneath one of the tacklers. Phillips is up from fullbacks, kicks him behind the line, turning Blacklock around, and Blacklock got a good bounce. And he had the speed to go back and clean up. Good thinking by Phillips on that occasion. I guess he didn't count on Blacklock having that speed to be able to turn and clean up.
might have got a call from the outside players as well to dribble the ball on through. Tough choice to make when you've only got a second to make a decision like that. Manly players probably think, or supporters believe, it may have been a better option simply to maintain possession, work at the post and take more than a converted try to the lead.
Well, the Dragons now come up with a mistake that might be rather costly. Still time on the clock here for Manly. They lead by 6. It's 12-6, 2 tries to 1. 6 tackles remaining. This is Gartner. Taken around the legs by Ward, right in front of the uprights, 30 metres out. Sidaris brings it back inside to Big Joe Taylor. Got through one. Now it's back to Sidaris and Field. Field to Kosef. Gives it to Menzies. Menzies for the line. Menzies got a double and Manly are in right on half-time. He hits the gap beautifully, Stephen Menzies. Great runner of the football. Showing the gap and he'll run into it. 16 points to 6.
Not quite sure whether St George coach David Waite will be all that happy. A lot of these players lost a lot of the desperation here, but one guy that usually does show that is Jamie Ainscough. He's on the inside there, simply failed to come across to be able to give assistance to Daniel Wagon as the ball got spread wide. Typical Manly style. Ainscough is a guy that usually is a very good inside-out defender. You see him coming across, just dropping off with the full chase. Wagon panicked, knew that he had to come up with something. Too little, too late.
So the top try scorer in the Manly first grade side this year brings up the 10th try for the season. The second for the day. And Phillips. Most difficult attempt on this side of the park at least. You can't add the extra 2. That is the half-time break here at Brookvale. So a 10-point advantage to Manly over St George. To try to Field. Menzies has got a double for St. And the top tackler is for the Manly side. Daniel Gartner 17 ahead of Sidaris 14 and Kalala 12. Whereas the hit-up merchants go, Adam Peters 12 hit-ups for Manly, the leader. Corey Pearson only 6 for St George, and that gives you an indication of just how much football St George has had. Their leading hit-up merchant, only half the hit-ups of Manly's Adam Peters. And it's now Mark Coyne, the St George Dragons captain. 20 metres from halfway. The Dragons territory. To the short side they go. This is Pearson, who tackled by Tuvia around the legs, and Hopoate muscling in over the top. Colin Ward. A reaction from the dressing rooms before too long. Now it's Matthew Rodwell. And Phillips cleans up about 12 out from his own line. This is Albert Torrens. Well, we have Manly packed inside their own territory. Let's get some reaction from the St George dressing room. And Max Ninnis joins us now. Max, what was the message from Coach David Waite at the halftime break?
Coach Waite thinks that we can win the game, and he wants us to get intense enough to do that. He wants us to get smarter in our kicking game, and he wants us to not to concede as many penalties as we have in the first half in our if you like, from the area where we apply pressure after a kick chase. So a kicking game, if it was better, we wouldn't get into the penalty situation that we're in there.
It makes they're very important points, but of course being able to complete those sets of 6 has probably got to be the first on the priority list. Giving the ball away to Manly after 2 tackles, that can be fatal, can't it?
Well, it has twice, Wally, you're right, exactly right. They scored twice off errors. They punished us pretty badly, I suppose, yes. It's 12 points.
So the bottom line, Max, you're still pretty confident you can do the job?
I think we can bring something out of ourselves here, yes.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Max Ninnis there, the word from the St George Dragons dressing sheds. And now it is the Dragons through Rodwell and Mundine. Mundine got a good ball away to Bartram. Half a gap there, but it was Tuvia around the legs. Mundine from dummy half, big one. Links up with Pearson, and now Pearson coughs up the football. Well, Daniel Gartner probably called for that one on that occasion, and so he passed it to him. And Kalala runs it up towards the 30-metre mark. There's good lead up here, Wally, but the execution at the end, that's spot on.
Yeah, well, they can't afford to panic. There's still 39 minutes to go in a game of football. It was probably at that stage. So they've got to be able to come up with the same sort of play that Manly did and get 12, 18 tackles in a row. That was really what took the wind out of the St George Sailors early in the match.
Here's Peters inside St George territory. Menzies back on the inside. Hopewadi charging onto it. Fullback to beat. He beats him hands down. John Hopewadi scores a try between the sticks. What a start to the second half to the Manly Sea Eagles. Hopewadi showed blistering speed on that occasion. He literally left Lee Murphy, the St George fullback, standing still.
Yeah, did very well. Very poor defensive structure on the edge of the ruck for the Dragons. We're used to seeing him do that very well. Clever ball tipped on the inside, got rid of Mark Coyne. But that is an absolute shocker from Lee Murphy, and I tell you what, he has had a couple of weeks that haven't been his best. We may see the hook pretty soon coming out from the coach.
I think it may be coming out very shortly, Wally, but that was a good pass back inside by Menzies, and Hopewadi just had too much pace. Went over under the post. This is a great start by Manly. This is the start they needed, and I think all they've got to do now is make sure they can complete their sets of 6 and control the ball, and they'll go on and win this very comfortably.
Right in front. Luke Phillips, he adds the extra 2. So the 16-6 at half-time. All of a sudden it's 22 points to 6. Worth another look here.
Here we see it here. Good pass out there to Menzies, and of course St George using the slide in defence, and twice now Manly have come up with tries against it, and you know, they've got to start to number up and come up with their tackles.
The problems now for St George. Still plenty of time on the clock, but they have to regroup and come up with something a bit better than that. Well, Manly inside their own 20 again. An opportunity now to bring in Marty Gurr to get some reaction from the Sea Eagles dressing room at half-time. Marty, thanks for joining us. That's a pretty good start to the second half.
Yes, it is. It's the start we're looking for. You know, the first half we're very happy. Our completion rate was good, and we came up with the necessary points.
Well, just what you're after, but you must have been pretty impressed. The guy that stood out to me, one of them anyway, Jimmy Sidaris, his mobility.
Oh, yeah, very much so, Wally. Jimmy's been playing well. You know, over the last 6 weeks or 7 weeks, he's really hit top form. And what we're looking for now is if we can just put together, you know, 240 minutes back-to-back, and we think we can come up with a result.
Now, John Hopewadi's been shining out, but Terry Hill, he just seems to go battling on, carrying that knee.
Terry has, you know, he just comes to play every week, and, you know, we get a lot of confidence having him out there on the right side of the field.
Marty, thanks for joining us. The fullback for St George, Lee Murphy, is having a horror show out there. Nothing going his way at all.
Well, it must have been tougher. In his defence, he was running at a fair speed. He put the hand up, but it really didn't seem to be any attempt to control the ball. It was simply batting it back towards the line, and I think David Wade has got to make a pretty bold move in the next couple of minutes, because his team, oh, as that ball drops marginally inside, imagine their confidence if it had been out in the full. Now the ball, of course, you can see the decision made by Hopewadi there to let the ball bounce. Under the new rules, that will be the feed to St George. If a team can kick off and put the ball out or over the dead ball line, it is a restart for the attacking team.
Just looking at the Manly back line, they had Phillips at 5'8", and Jeff Tuvey standing in the centres as Murphy tried to punch a hole in the gap, and the gap soon closed thanks to Tuvey. Now it's Mundine. So a rearranged back line there by the Manly Sea Eagles at scrum time. We'll keep an eye on that one. Now it's Colin Ward, straight ahead. Brown allowed to run. Short ball to Pearson. Needed support. Rodwell was there, but not quite close enough to take the pass. Hardy showing it. 10 metres out now, the Dragons. Can they get another score here? Can they hit back to keep their hopes alive? The left-footed kick by Brown, taken on the full, though, by Duncan. And so we'll come back to the 20-metre mark. Duncan had it pretty well covered all the way.
Yeah, and one chaser for St George. Just a sole man going through very well shepherded from Terry Hill. He gave his teammate all the time in the world. They've got to start playing as a 13-man outfit. Switch on between the ears.
St George, their fans don't need to be reminded, but I'll remind them anyway. They have a tough run coming in to the semi-finals. Norse, Newcastle, Sydney City, Cronulla, Canterbury, Canberra and Parramatta. Ooh, they started round 17 in 6th spot. They need to win quite a few of those remaining matches to stay in the top 6 and give themselves 2 lives in the semi-finals. I don't think there's any doubt about them making the top 10, but can they finish in the top 6? In today's form, the answer would be no. The match is not over yet, but Manly just seem to be growing in confidence. Well, that wasn't a perfect kick by Field, straight into the arms there of Blacklock. He's about 5 metres out from his own line. Murphy. This is the captain, Coyne. He'll need to really get involved now, Mark Coyne. Hardy. There's no one to pass to on that occasion. He was left on his own. Brown moves into dummy half now. Here's Colin Ward. The pass cleaned up by Mundine. Starts to move. Gives it out to Ainscough. Ainscough calls Wagon back on the inside. The better work by the St George backs. Incidentally, it was Mundine that started to run the football. Now it's Rodwell. Gives it to Pearson. Out the back door to Mundine, to the short side. Daniel Wagan throws the dummy. They didn't fall for it. But St George, with a tackle remaining in this set, are about 21 metres out. Now it's Mundine. He goes across field in the air. And it came off a St George player. It went backwards. Hardy could not get the ball free. It's a final tackle. Well, a near miss there for St George. It was play on when it rebounded off the Dragons player.
Yeah, it was good desperation in defence. Hopewadi pretty close to being penalised for a straight shepherd.
And now the penalty goes to Manly. One of the players in an offside position from St George. Penalties going Manly's way, 7-2.
We'll go with
Taylor,
it, we'll go with it.
5 from halfway.
Anthony.
Gardner. Got it away with the support, Corey Underwood. It's Kosef. Terry Hill. And defend Wagon off, can't do so. Sidaris. Another fine game, Jimmy Sidaris. 25 metres out from the St George line. To the short side they go. Kosef turns it back on the inside. Terry Hill is there. Craig Field having a go on his own field. Throwing dummies, finding space, gives it out to Phillips. And he's in again for Manly. Well, Craig Field decided to run the football, found himself in space. But the referee wants the video referee to have a look at something.
What I want to have a look at, was there any interference on any tackle from St George? And if so, we could look at it. We could look at taking it away from them, right?
Jeff's just checking to see that there was no interference to any of the St George defenders.
Well, the ball being shipped wide. Geez, an exciting player once he takes off. There was the interference, but I think it was probably just as important to point out that it was through the Dragons' bad positioning in their defence.
Yeah, I think he's allowed to stand his ground, Corey Underwood.
He simply ran into the back of him. There was no play in that. So I think we can be pretty confident to see an 18-point lead. It'll be a little bit more than that one, and of course it'll be 20. 22 coming up after the kick. Yeah, well, there was no intention from any Manly player there to take a St George player out of it.
I don't think he would have caught him either.
Good backing up by Luke Phillips.
Yeah. Yes, if he's impeded and the tackler could have got to him, yes. Okay, where are we going to go back to? Go back to...
I don't believe this.
Wait. Make the call, John.
They've ruled against it.
That's a penalty to St George. Whereabouts?
Penalty to St George.
Okay.
Tell you what, he's got the positioning of it wrong too. It's about 10 metres away. Well, I'll tell you what, Bert. I think I'll shut up for 5 minutes. I've been critical of referees all my life. Well, it wasn't his call there. It was somebody else's. If he's been impeded. Well, they're all hairdressing contract, I'll tell you, coming up.
They're all referees, aren't they, really? So, I just can't believe it. There's been a couple of tough decisions. And, I guess it evens itself out because St George had a couple of hard decisions that go against them in the first half, and this way Manly have caught one.
Some people call those violin calls, don't they?
I just think that Underwood was entitled to maintain his path on that occasion. Stand his ground, in other words. But anyway, it's 22 points to 6. Manly still have this commanding lead. And St George have a sniff of it again. They're 26 metres out from the Manly line. Rodwell goes wide. Ainscough having a run on his own. Puts it onto the left foot. Picked up brilliantly by Wagan. Back on the inside. Ainscough is there. Can he get it down? Desperate defence by Manly. Oh, they're in a huddle over in the far corner. Calvert Jeffs wants to go to the video referee yet again.
They just want to leave itself out.
John, just want to check. I think he's held up, and we want to see whether he's gone into touch, okay? Yeah, what's he in touch? Touch in the field of play, or touch the goal?
We're checking everything. Yeah. Touch in the field of play, touch in goal. Was he held up? Did he get it down?
I reckon it started off with an absolute shocker of a kick. Jamie Ainscough going up the left footer. Was eventually caught by a teammate. Well,
To me, what was the touch judge doing? Look where the touch judge is standing, and he stood there and watched them carry the player over.
Okay, so we go back to
Why wasn't the touch judge moving up, getting closer to the play?
Stacks on the mill. I think he was doing a little bit hard there. I don't think he wanted to get too close to the action.
He frightened he might have got hurt.
The steamrollers were on the way.
I think it was pretty obvious, though, that he went into the touch and
the only
hit
tough
the
thing is,
ball
of
down.
course,
Why are we going to the video referee?
The only tough thing was that the corner pole was already down.
See, that's my argument. Is surely the touch judge could have helped the referee there, and he wouldn't have to go to the video referee.
Certainly no, tried that one. Well, it's all happening from one end of the field to the other. Disallowed tries in the last couple of minutes.
Right.
One from either side. And the scoreline remains the same. 22 points to 6. It's Manly over St George. Coming up to the 53rd minute. This is Albert Torrens. 20 from halfway. Here he finds Sidaris running onto it, bouncing out of the tackle, getting it back to Jeff Tuvey. He had nowhere to go, though. Smothered in the tackle of Stapleton. Kalala, taken by Stapleton again. Adam Peters. Over halfway. I think it was Jeff Hardy. And he's been penalised for having a second crack at him.
St George players complaining and saying the ball was put on the ground before he actually got to his feet. There was any doubt on the replay showing that he was on his way up when the ball was put to the ground. It's going to take a little bit from St George to be able to hold Manly out here. Everything going against them. A 16-point gap at the moment. Manly full of confidence. One of the first times this year.
And guys, Darren Tracy has left the field with a left shoulder injury, or it could be a collarbone, and Lance Thompson has gone on for him.
Kosev straight ahead, taking them on. And he's held up and will now play the ball in front of the uprights, 20 metres out. To the right they go. And this is Peters. Real pressure on the St George defence now. Manly pouring on the pressure. And it's Kosev, 10 metres out. Kalala waits for it at dummy half. Gives it to Jimmy Sidaris. He finds Field. Hill misses out. Menzies gives it to Hopewadi. Back on the inside, switch of play. Sloppy play, in fact, but it's been cleaned up there by Torrens. Oh, shocking pass. Who's back there this time? They're going backwards, well and truly Manly. There's a lack of confidence on that occasion. Pass is not finding the target. Final tackle coming up. Field is kicking it into the far corner. Puts it to stay in the field of play. Oh! There's a high shot there. Terry Hill coming through.
See you later.
Well, it was
Walk away.
a reflex action there from Terry Hill.
Come out. Come out. Listen to me. Be quiet for a moment. What I'm going to do, all right, call time off first. Yeah. All right, listen to me. Yeah. The tackle was too high. You've flicked him up high. What I'm going to do is put it on record. He had an open hand anyway, but it's still too high. Get him down. All right, get him down. Away you go.
So the tackle will go on record.
Gee, I'll tell you what. Go and buy a casket ticket.
But I tell you, when they talk to referees, aren't they all angels, these players?
He said, that's not my go.
Not my go. You know?
It's the third caution he's had for the day, Terry. Oh, I'll tell you what. Well, we'll leave that for the video
Review committee.
Review committee to have a peep at. But I think even the staunchest Manly supporter would say Terry Hill's pretty lucky to be still on the football field at the moment, even if it isn't his go.
Stay there.
22-6. And St George. That's their 30-metre line. Rodwood plays it. This is Stapleton. 10 from halfway. Mundine to Thompson. Good strong run by the young second rower inside Manly territory. Bartram. Mundine, quick hands. Blacklock. Crossfield trying to link up. Tuvey is there, wraps him up, ball and all. Hardy, Ainscough. Now Mundine. He dances his way through. Can't find a gap. Brown at dummy half to Rodwell. Rodwell runs to the line. Rubber kick in behind the line, and Phillips is going to allow it to go over the dead ball line. Pretty patient on that occasion, Luke Phillips. Seemed to have it under control, though. Had a good look.
Yeah, he did very well. Had a couple of peeps over the shoulder. The important though for Manly, they remember that despite the lead, they've got to work hard and stick to their original game plan, work for territory and get a good kick and chase game going. That's been the only area that's let them down all day.
10 from halfway. That's where Gartner will play it for Manly. And Kosef. Good strong run by the back rower. Inside the Dragons' territory again. Tuvey. Thought he spotted a gap. It soon closed, though. Final tackle coming up, and Jimmy Sidaris, does he know it's the fifth? He gives it to Peters. Don't want to spot it bother. No, now it's the fifth tackle. Final tackle coming up now. And Field will go to the right to Terry Hill. Terry kicking into the in goal. And it's been picked up by Blacklock. Here's a return of the football by the fleet-footed Blacklock. And he's back towards the 20 already. Good return of the football. That's a shocking pass from dummy half, though. And the Dragons. Through Jim Lenihan.
He's just come onto the football field. Hasn't been able to stretch the hammies yet. Poor bloke.
I think himself in open spaces.
I think he might have just stretched him then.
Push and shove going on between Hopewadi and also the fullback Murphy. The pass is forward. Thompson's thrown into the turf right on the halfway. He's not too happy about it.
I got it.
Middle of the tackling. It was Hopewadi.
I got it. Settle down. Going all right now, you're looking for me, all right? Stay, Corey. Going all right now.
The coach telling the boys they're going all right.
Nah, come on, get in the scrum.
No, I want to jump in the other side.
Stand square.
Guys, Joe Taylor has just taken the field. He's replaced
Hold away. Oh,
Anthony
right.
Kalila.
Back away, St George, back away. You're right, no, you haven't got a split.
Well, the
You're
scrum
right,
will pack down a couple of metres inside St George territory. 16-6 at the break to Manly. It's the one try in the second half to Hopewadi, converted by Phillips. Both Manly and St George have had a try disallowed. And now Phillips is up from fullback. Gives it over now to Duncan. And it's Manly. Good field position yet again. Nick Kosef. Gives it back to Gardner. Sidaris waits for it at dummy half. The inside pass to Big Joe Taylor. So they're in a good try-scoring position again. To the right they go. Terry Hill. Got up. Wasn't effectively held. Getting very close. Can he get it down? No, he's held up. Just in the field to play.
Don't jump! Don't jump!
Duncan at dummy half. Well,
Come on!
Duncan just tried to scoop the ball back and couldn't pick it up. Lucky to regather. Tooby to Phillips. There's the kick. And it's out on the full.
I think it might be the last one for him for the day.
Well, Terry Hill had a real crack at them over on the far side.
Yeah, it's been he and Jamie Ainscough all day long that have put on one of the best shows between the opponents. Although he's battle-scarred and got a bit of panel beating on the knees at the moment, he's still very determined to prove that he's the better of the two.
Brown giving it to Thompson. Thompson back to Brown. Throwing it in two hands. He found Pearson. He popped it out the back door to Coyne. He's wrapped up by his opposite number, John Hopewadi. Rodwell. Mundine with the dummy. Mundine into space. On the inside, it's Ainscough. He's going to have too much pace, is he? He gives it back down to Blacklock, and he's in underneath the black dot. St George are back. And maybe still in with the show here at Brookvale. Well, what a try, what backing up there. I thought Ainscough was going to go all the way. He was ankle tapped from behind. If he had to have someone in support, there's nobody better than Nathan Blacklock. Gee, he's a speed machine.
Yeah, good examples for young kids here. Just saw a little bit too much speed for Nick Kosef on that occasion. Got into the hole. Great cover defence or chasing from behind from Steve Menzies again. But you called it. If you're going to pick a bloke to have in support, have it the best bloke with the speed on the football field. The guy that enjoys embarrassing his opponents too. Well, I'm not going to sidestep you once. I'll sidestep you twice and still put it down under the post and then throw it into the air.
Well, if St George are going to have any chance of getting back in this game, Anthony Mundine's the guy that's got to do the running. They've got to get him out wide and get those passes to him. As we saw there, too much pace for Kosef. Ainscough backing up on the inside. And, of course, he was able to give the ball to Blacklock. Trying for a great drive.
Just cool it down. I'm watching everything and there's been too much.
Come to me, come to me.
No.
Phil?
I'm just asking you to give him a little bit of friendly warning. Don't get too aggressive and then go overboard. There's too much in it.
All right, okay. Look, he's on your case and so am I. Play the ball with your foot, all right, I'll pick that one up. Listen, have a look at the scoreboard, okay? You've been going real well all day, so just settle down and play football, all right? There you go.
How would you have handled the referees dressing down like that, Wally, in your day?
Well,
you're speechless.
Oh, mate, well, the referee's out there to rule on you, not give you a coach's rundown on how you're playing and about watching the scoreboard.
Exactly. How many times do they say, oh, I'm here, let me do the refereeing? Well, it's about time they let the players play the game instead of worrying about telling them how to play. Or
coaches do the coaching.
Exactly.
Well, Bartram didn't miss it from in front again. 22 points to 12. St George have scored now their 10th try from inside their own half this season. They're going to have to probably come up with another couple like that from inside their own 50 if they can get back and really mount some real pressure on Manly. But 22 points to 12. They're within 2 converted tries now. And they hit a dummy half, and here's Colin Ward. The big question will be just how much petrol will the Dragons have left in the tank. Have they got any fire? Because they've been asked to do plenty of tackling. 215 tackles to Manly's 160. Mundine got it out now to Simpson, and he's up towards halfway. Mundine, the man, up over halfway. There he goes again. But Hill has him covered this time.
Hands off.
Reagan to Ainscough, and now Rodwell. Luke Phillips. Will he watch it go over the dead ball line? No, he has to pick it up and play it. And gee, for a moment, he was going to pass in goal. The fans breathed a sigh of relief as he took the tackle, and it will be a restart from between the sticks.
It's probably been the very first of the day for the Dragons. Kick and chase. I don't think he was ever contemplating throwing the ball there. Trying to take a little bit of the heat off himself. But it would create an interesting finish to the game. There's still 17 minutes remaining. The Dragons could post another try, even if it was a 4-pointer.
Come on!
It would make the margin just 6 points. An exciting finish.
Guys, Colin Ward has left the field for St George with a right knee injury, and Craig Stapleton has gone on to replace him. We don't know whether Ward will be back.
Well, Thompson plays it back to Coyne to Brown. 14 is Stapleton, and already they're only about 8 metres out, almost in front of the upright. St George sense that if they can score another try here, they're right back in this game. Pearson, but they've left it behind over there. They really didn't need to force the pass so early in the tackle count, and Alf Duncan has it for Manly, and they're off the hook momentarily, the Manly Sea Eagles. Still some work to do, though, to run it out of their own 20.
There was a poor choice there. The option was the wrong one. They had a front rower running out in the middle of the back line. They didn't need it. He tried to go to the line, get the arm out round the corner. Have a look at that. There's no way in the world you're going to get the ball around the corner on that occasion. Better option just to simply maintain possession. They had enough pressure on the Sea Eagles.
Tuvey gives it back to Sidaris. Warming up on the sideline is Cliffy Lyons. He had a brief period on the park in the first half.
Yes, Clarkie,
required since.
He will be going on to replace Craig Field.
Okay, well now it's Blacklock. And Blacklock is back at fullback for St George. No surprise there. They've given Lee Murphy a bit of a spell. And now it's Wagon.
Shot going on field there. I think there's too much in it. He stayed down for around about 15 or 20 seconds. I think you'll find he'll get back into the game pretty quickly if he sees the Sea Eagles defence in a little bit of strife.
Bartram. Westfield. Now he brings Simpson into the play. Craig Field. 14. Now it's Rodwell. Final tackle coming up. Mundine in position for the kick, so too is Brown. Brown. Straight across field. Thompson handballs it back. Picked up by Kalala, is it? Has he got the legs to go all the way? Menzies is coming back on the inside. He goes to his winger and he picks up Albert Torrance. Torrance for the corner. What a try to the Manly Sea Eagles. That might be the ball game now. And it all started with a great reading of the play by Anthony Kalala. Probably had the shortest legs on the park, apart from maybe Jeff Tuvey. They were pumping. He knew he couldn't go all the way. Menzies was on the inside, but he went to the winger, probably with the right choice because Torrance charged away.
I've seen some crazy decisions in my time in football, but to punch a ball while it was in the air, not knowing who was within 20 metres of you, is absolutely crazy. I mean, I've never seen that before. I've seen some guys try to pat the ball back, but to simply punch it, not knowing who was where, whether he had teammates anywhere near it or what. Commendations to the Manly players for beginning. Just look at this. He gets up in the air and just tries to forehand smash. I know Wimbledon's been on over the last couple of nights, but gee, I think that'll be the worst punch he'll ever throw in his life, that one. I think he's cost his team dearly, perhaps any chance of being able to get back into this football game. Admittedly, only 14 points.
They're pretty happy, especially the supporters. Go Manly. Well, they've been going today, let me tell you. 16-6 at halftime now, 26 points to 12. And Luke Phillips, wearing number 6 on his back, but he's played fullback all night. And Craig Hancock pulled out of the team. Moved back to fullback, and that's a good conversion. Another 2 points to Manly. 28 points to 12. Luke Phillips adds the extras. And Brett Kenny.
All right, Jamie.
It's a pretty good scoreline again for the Sea Eagles.
Well, yes, it is. And very smart play, too, by Anthony Kalila. Those little legs were pumping, but unfortunately, once he reached the 50-metre line, they were going nowhere. But very smart play, as I say. He saw Albert Torrance coming up. as we see St George get the ball back from the kick-off.
Yeah, I thought that Menzies was interfered there.
Yeah, he certainly was.
The referee didn't agree. So now St George thrown down the gauntlet again, and they go wide. Ainscough, back infield, Blacklock. It was the forward pass.
It was almost offside as well.
Hands down. I think
They
he
won
went
the
to
ball
ball. I
back
don't
from
think
the
he took him out,
kickoff.
okay? He's asked the question. He's got an answer.
Jeff Turvey not too happy about what happened from the kickoff. But look at that pass there. It's
He's offside.
He's offside for a mile.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Get down from me.
So Jeff Turvey
Stay in, stay in.
gets the ball into the scrum. About 19 metres out from his own line. And Kosef.
That's you. There it is. You.
There it was Brown. Brown caught in the act there. Punching the ball out.
You want to go? What are you going to do?
No doubt about that. Turvey bounced out of one tackle.
Sorry, Greg, I was going to say, an interesting week of training. The discipline that we've become accustomed to seeing at St George has been right out the window today.
They won that 8 or 9 in a row earlier on. We all knew it was going to be tough in the run-up to the semis. They've won just one of the last 4 going into this match, and now Terry Hill keeps it alive. Throws it back on the inside to Duncan. He's tackled about 11 metres out. Cliffy Lyons. Inside pass to Kosef to the blind side. Duncan trying to burrow his way through. A few metres out from the line. Kosef at dummy half gives it to Tuvey. Tuvey, the little general, the cross field. Now he throws it back to Lyons. Switch of play. Not a great pass by Cliffy, and who has come up with it? It's Manly. Kosef got there just in the nick of time. Lyons with the kick. Menzies, or it was Phillips in fact in the headgear, and Blacklock has it for the Dragons. It's a bit of a nothing kick in the end. Wagon 29 metres out from his own line. The wrong end of the field again, St George. This is Stapleton. Rodwell. And now Mundine. Brett, you said you wanted to see Mundine run the ball at most opportunities.
Yeah, Greg, I just think that for St George to have any chance of winning this game, he's the man that's got to run the ball, and he's got to go a little bit wide. I think if he can get 2 passes wide of the ruck, have a little bit more room to move, he may be able to create something for the Dragons.
Here's Terry Hill. What a game effort with that dicky knee. And Torrens. 20 from halfway. Hill again. They go wide to Lyons. Shifting it. Menzies. Hopewadi stepping back on the inside. Intercepted though by the St George Dragon there in 17, Jim Lenihan. Bartram gives it off to Thompson. Taken by Sidaris and also Gartner. Inside the final 10 minutes now. 28 points to 12. Manly as Rodwell tries to pierce her way through. Can't do so. That's the 30. Manly's end of the ground. Brown to Thompson. Lyons hangs on. He pops it out through his legs and it's play on. Pearson. And Blacklock. Cross to Ainscough. Is it back on the inside? Oh, St George, their own worst enemy here. They have to play catch-up football, I guess. Well, it was easy possession again for Manly. Just as Joe Taylor plays it. Mundine didn't have control of the pass. Menzies. Back to Tuvey. Manly looking to win 3 in a row. And turn the corner. Can they keep the momentum going now and sneak into that top 10?
You were never onside, Brownie. Never onside.
Nathan Brown penalised for being inside the 10. Next week, Manly have a tough one at Olympic Park. Next Friday night, they take on the Melbourne Storm. The Storm at home.
Stay behind it.
St George play Norse at Cogra.
Just there.
Sydney 32, Western Suburbs 18, Canberra 16, just hit the front of another.
Now this is Corey Underwood. 20-metre mark. Manly not finished yet. Looking for more points. Just under 7 minutes remaining. In front of the uprights, centre field. Sidaris to Lyons. Kalala. And Anthony will play it now, 10 metres out. Tuvey. To Lyons, short ball to Phillips.
Come out, Bardo. Walk away. Walk
Well,
away.
he's got someone for a high shot here, I think.
I'm going to say. I'm going to put it on report. It came up. It was up around the chin, all right? Up around his neck. It was up around the neck. You're on report. There it is. There it is. It's on report. Way you go. Back 10 for me, Mark. It's on the line here.
Well, a short ball. There's too many people that would argue it was. I really don't think that there was any intent there.
I think a penalty was sufficient. I just can't understand why they've got to go and put everything on report.
Well, perhaps I really do think that the discipline of the Dragons has gone out the window the last 15 minutes. They're playing with a fair bit of emotion. Unfortunately, it's at the wrong end. 3 losses in a row. Too many people would have predicted that just 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's been a team that's almost been rudderless out there this afternoon. They don't really look to have too much of a game plan, but we can't take anything away from the Sea Eagles. They've been pretty good.
So the lead at the moment is 16. This to stretch it to 18. Phillips punched it right down the middle. The flags go up. So they hit the 30 mark, Manly. And it's 30 points to 12. The penalty to Luke Phillips. So they've been pouring on some points, Manly, in recent weeks. They've hit 30 today. Because last week they scored 45 against West. Prior to that, 22 against Penrith. Gaining in confidence on attack. The defence has been much better today. It's restricting St George to 12 so far. Penalty goes to Manly. St George playing at the football before it went 10 metres. Trying the short kick-off. And the judgment going against Manly, going against St George in favour of Manly. And the Seagulls are in no hurry to get this thing going. Inside 5 minutes remaining.
Put it on the ground. Going out? Okay.
Cliffy Lyons picks up 2 or 3 metres as he finds touch. That's the broadcast side at Brookvale. Magnificent day for rugby league. Sun shining. An even better day for one of these players at the end of the match when we present our NEC Man of the Match award. Is Hopewadi. Sidaris at dummy half. Kosef bounced out of a couple. There's another go at them, Nick Kosef. Strong run. Turvey at first receiver. They go to the short side. The inside pass is to Underwood. Tuvey, big line-up out to the right. Cliffy Lyons runs to the St George defence, gives it to Phillips. Phillips, it's intercepted by Wagon, though. He was immediately claimed by Menzies, but St George have it on their own 20-metre mark. Thompson. Completion rate, Wally, 24 out of 31 for Manly. Enough to please Bobby Fulton.
Yeah, be getting that way, especially the way that they started the early part of the season. But even the ones that they turned over possession today, I think he'd probably find just cause to say that they were half opportunities. opportunities. His team have won it, so he won't have too many areas for causes for concern.
They're still trying to promote the football, St George. The game well and truly over for them. They have to try and come up with something in the next minute or two, just to ease the pain for the coach, David Waite. 15 from halfway, it's Manly. Sidaris goes wide, picked up by Terry Hill. Wagon has him, a couple from halfway. Duncan at dummy half. Lyons having a run on himself by himself. And he gets it out to Terry Hill. He got the Fenn going, back on the inside. And that is well and truly the ball game now. It's another try to the Manly Sea Eagles. And Duncan is in. Great work, Cliffy Lyons on the far side. Good finishing by Duncan. And that's 34 points to 12. Manly had the final say here at Brookvale.
Not a nice way for them to finish. Strong example from Terry. Simply going to his man, or a couple of them, using the right hand, the right shoulder, dropping the ball up. Good support play. The ball switched back the blind side from Lyons. Just watch this. Puts the ball in the right arm, uses the left as a bumper and also a fend, keeping the ball available for support play, and that's an area that would be one area that would bring a smile to Bobby Fulton's face this afternoon. The support play that they've put on show. It's been their best all year.
So Phillips from out wide again. 5 in from the far touch. Struck it pretty well, but this time the flags wave it away. So 34 points to 12. Good way to finish, Brett.
Yes, it certainly is, and of course Manly have been working to St George's left-hand side of the defensive line, and they've done it again just then. And Terry Hill just has sheer strength there, and a good pass back inside of the winger. But St George, they're very tired at the moment. They've done a lot of tackling, and of course, they're down 34 points to 12. It's very hard to keep the morale going. It's been a very good win day by the Manly Sea Eagles.
So I'll have a few opposition sides worried now, Manly. St George have had to make 258 tackles compared to Manly's 192. St George just did not control the football. End of story. They're going to have to do that. And they come up against this horrendous run leading up to the semis. It's all over here at Brookvale. Full time. Manly 34, St George 12.
Another 3 tries in the second half to Hopewadi, Torrens and Alf Duncan. Nathan Blacklock added another for the St George Dragons, but we saw touches in that second half, Sean, where the Sea Eagles, they really are starting to find some pretty good form.